Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Dennis. So today's video is about a Songtenese Tower CPU cooler. 120mm fan comes with it. We have a box of goodies. So let's get to it, see what comes inside. So we're going to have a quick look inside. Now, it comes with its own thermal paste. Okay, it has double 13 thermal compound. Haven't seen that before, but they're pretty much all the same. It has a couple extra things for your fans to attach it on. Okay, so if you want to have a push-pull configuration, you can use this. Has your back plate, all right. Has your different color screws, and what's kind of cool is the blue ones for Intel and the red ones for AMD. So there's no mistaking which one it's for. And another plate will explain how all this stuff works as we go ahead and install it. Comes with, believe it or not, a little set of white gloves. I thought that was kind of cool, actually. And of course, it has an extension fan. So if you need it, so fan plugs into here, and this one could go to your motherboard just in case you need a little bit of extra reach. And that's pretty much it. So let's have a look at the fan itself. So the fan is a 120mm, pretty much a standard fan. Has the arrows to show you what direction the wind is, the air is going to blow through. Both sides. Okay, so just in case you're not sure which way to put it on. All right, and of course we have the fin array. And the fin array, very clear, very nice. I like the detail of it. We have our heat pipes running up through it. You can see the same thing on both sides. And we got a plate here. We'll see how all this goes together when we do the installation. So here's everything that comes in the box, as you can see. So we're going to sort through the parts, put everything that you're going to need for an AMD build, and then we'll continue. Okay, so this is everything you're going to need for an AMD AM4 install. So package of red with the screws and everything else that comes with it. You can use the gloves. You don't necessarily need to, but they're there if you want to. So I'm going to get my test bed, get my motherboard on it, and we're going to do the installation. Okay, so it's on my test bench. First thing I'm going to do is take out the 4 screws of the stock cooler that's in there now, all 4 sides, and then we're going to show you what we have to do. Now, with this cooler, when it goes on, you will have to have taken off, if you had the brackets on it, you would have to remove those to put the new cooler on. So just be aware of that. Okay, so just undo a little bit at a time. Go to all 4 corners. And then just finish undoing them. So if you heard that noise, that's the back plate falling down. But I have just a desk underneath of it, so it doesn't hurt anything, which just basically means that all these are loose and I can now take it off. If you haven't done this before with an AMD cooler, make sure you lift it up and you kind of twist it a little bit. Otherwise, it'll pull the CPU right out and it could cause damage. So just be careful with that. Okay, so be careful. And that's it. Disconnect your power for your CPU fan. Okay, so I'm trying to be careful here. This is just going to pull up. So you can just like that. And of course, that's where your new one is going to plug in. Well, the paste, in case anybody was wondering, it's pretty much covering this, which is attached to this. Doesn't leave a lot left behind. Well, that's okay. That's the way they intended, I guess. So now we have our CPU cooler. We're going to have to clean this all off before we put the new one on. And we are going to have to get our back plate, which is falling down. I'm just going to show you that. So it's just sitting underneath here. So that's our back plate right there. Okay, so I used some rubbing alcohol compound, 95%. Put it on some paper towel, which maybe not the best, but it works. And I'm just going to clean all this off. And remove as much as you can, especially this little bit. You see where it went on the side there? have to make sure we clean that all up. Now I use non-conductive thermal paste. So when you use non-conductive thermal paste, what that means is it's not going to short anything out, just in case you're wondering. Okay, something to remember is if you happen to have these brackets on, you're going to have to remove them. There's 2 screws, loosen them off, lift it off, and just keep it in your CPU box or wherever you want to keep it, because we won't need that for this installation. So I clean it all off. The CPU is nice and clean, and now we're ready to install. Okay, so this back plate that fell out, you will need to use that. Okay, so put it back underneath. If you're having this on a system, you just want to line up that. It's a little bit harder on a test bench, but we'll get there. Okay, so line it up like that. Now, your little red, these ones here, okay, they're going to fit right over top of it, and they're pretty snug. So hopefully they'll hold it right in place. And that's going to hold it for you. So it's not real tight, but so you might have to hold it, but just in case. The next thing you're going to do is put on the metal bracket you have here. Okay, so you're going to line it up with these holes. Okay, so you've got these little screws here. You want them facing up. Okay, so it's going to go like that. Okay, so we have our plate over top of our holes. Now we just need to get our screws and start fastening it down. So we'll start with this one here. And it's going to move, so don't worry about that too much. Once you get it started, you can push it right over there and put her on. Okay, then just line that back up so that they are all. Okay, so if it comes off, don't worry, just put it back on. Okay, it's a little tricky. Hopefully I got that up in there okay. Hard to get my hand up in there, but it should be okay. Don't tighten it right down because you're going to have to adjust this a little bit. So that's going to come over, so I'm going to loosen this up just ever so slightly. Okay, so that's going to come over a little bit. Okay, so we have to adjust this just a little bit. And okay, and this one is moved, so I have to put it back on. Okay, so we're going to do this one just because this one seems to be off just ever so slight. So I want to make sure that one's in there the right way. All right, so just toss that in. You can feel it when it starts to tighten. Okay, so you have to keep going, and it'll just stop. All right. And our last one, right here in this corner. Okay, so just make sure they're nice and snug. Don't over tighten. Should be on there pretty securely now. Should probably pick that right up probably. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, now on to the next part. Okay, so I'm going to use my own thermal paste, but you could use theirs if you wish. And we're just going to apply some thermal paste on here, and then we're going to put our CPU cooler on. And it's going to fasten to these screws here. All right. Now I'm doing this the way they had mentioned to do it. So it might be a little much, but we'll give it a go. We'll find out when we check our thermals. So to me, I think could be too much, but it's going to spread out. We shall see. So let's move on to our cooler. So I'm going to have to pan out here a little bit. So don't forget, this has a little piece of plastic over the end of it. So you're going to have to remove it. Okay, so just make sure you take that off. Okay, so these here are going to go onto these screws here. So line it up. You are going to have to get a different screwdriver. So you're going to need a flat screwdriver. The Phillips that I have will not fit in there. So just in case, you make sure you have that. I'm going to line it up over the whole. Pretty easy to get it in there, actually. All right. So it's going to look like that. Air's going to blow out the back. And we'll put our fan on afterward. So as soon as you feel it kind of touching, move on to the next screw. Okay, so you have one on each side, exactly the same. And I'm just checking to make sure it's biting. Okay, and just fasten it up. Go back. Just keep going back and forth till you're gonna both snugly in place. Snugly, like that word, snugly. Yeah, a lot of screwing going on. Okay, and it will come to a stop. Much like this one once we get it to where we need it. And just like that, it stops. So just snug it down a little bit. And that should be good, should be on there. So now, I'm just going to change the angle so you can see me put on the fan. So, fan's going to go on from the front to blow the air exhausted out the back. Okay, so your fans, you get your little brackets here. It's going to go in these little grooves. There's little grooves on the side. So, line it up, and you're just going to pull it back until it goes inside. And you're going to do that for both sides. Okay. So pull that back. And same thing on this side, pull it back until you feel it click in place. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit better view of that, so I'm just going to move the camera. Okay, so now you can see it a little bit better. Oh, it's just locked in place. I'll just show you that again. Okay, so pull it back, then pull it until it lines up in there. All right, so that should go in there. Now, because I gave you two other brackets, you could put a fan on the other side and have a push-pull configuration. So just something to be aware of. So the only thing left is to plug in your fan. Okay, it's 4W. It's 4-pin PWM fan, and you're going to plug it in. You see this little tab. There's a little tab on here. Line those up, and just pop it in. Just like that. And you can tie these off. Lots of room underneath, actually. You probably just tuck it underneath, but for now I'm just going to not worry about it. It's more about how to do it than it is about cable management. So we'll just leave that there for now. So of course, what's a good video unless I show you how the thermals work on it? So let's go ahead, fire this puppy up, and show you what the temperatures it gets. Okay, so let's fire it up and see what happens. Okay, like I said, it is by no means a RGB, so just in case you're wondering, fires up, quite quiet, and of course, like I said, it has a, or I may not have mentioned, Has a soldered copper base for heat pipes with a nickel-plated design for Intel and for AMD AM4 Ryzen processors. You saw the installation? Pretty easy, not really difficult. Has 51 aluminum fins that are attached to the heat pipes, of course. So just get a little light in the subject. Just wanted to show you the fan a little bit more. So now let's check out those temps. Okay, so we're going to start off with AIDA64 Extreme, and we're going to run a system stability test. Minimize this. Alright, so we're going to start this off. We're going to stress our CPU just to generate as much heat as we can. We don't need to worry about the GPU right now. And that should be good, so let's start and see what happens. So we're now at 100% utilization here, and we're setting quite low to start, a low of 27 to 30 on idle, and right now it's setting at 50. So let's see if it maintains that after a little while. So we're going to let it go. I'll come back after 5 minutes and we'll see where we're at. So I wanted to just pop back in here for a second because right now we're at about the 3.5 minute mark, and it has pretty much stayed the whole time at about 53 under 100% load. So that's pretty darn good. But that is dropping. I've never seen that before. Go up, yes. Go down, no. That's high praise. I'm going to tell you right there, that's high praise. So we're going to let this continue until the 5 minute mark, like I said. We'll come back one more time and see if this actually goes up anymore. So we're at the 5.5 minute mark, almost 6 minutes. It has not gone above 53 degrees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're new to CPU cooling and stuff, but that's super impressive. So I'm going to let you just listen real quickly just to the fan. It is fairly quiet, actually, so give a listen. Now, keep in mind, that's going full out, 100% utilization. So if that's as loud as that fan gets, pretty cool. Really, really cool. Now, of course, this will work on an ATX, ATX, and I'm using on a micro ATX. So just to let you know, because it does work on all those. I am super impressed with this, I gotta tell you. Now, one thing I want to do, I'm going to go to a different test here in a second. But I want to give you a couple more details. So first off, it's got excellent cooling performance, as you can see, demonstrated on the screen. Okay, fan is super quiet. It's a 120 by 120 by 25 millimeter fan. Has 11 fan blades and airflow optimized to reduce noise generation. And it even has rubber pads on the corners to help keep down vibration and stuff. Because that ball bearing, okay, has an 80 CFM, high quality. They're much quieter than I've experienced for having done quite a few of these. A speed reduction cable is included for users with strict noise requirements. Oh, so that's what that other cable was. I thought it was a fan extension, but it's to make it even quieter than it is. Can you even imagine this thing being quieter? I mean, wow, who knew? And of course, you can control it with a PWM speed control. Highly compatible design. Okay, it has lots of clearance for your memory. The fan is adjustable, so if you have to move it up and down. What more can you say? I mean, if you got questions, let me know. But I mean, I have never seen, like, I'm taking this longer than I normally do. Like, it's 8 minutes now. It hasn't gone above 53 degrees. People, if you can't appreciate that, I don't know what to say. So I am going to leave, well, I'm not going to leave a link because I don't have a link, but I got it from Amazon.com. All right. Again, it's the Songtenese Tower CPU air cooler with 120 millimeter MFDB bearing PWM fan. Now there's a mouthful. It sets for height, in case you're wondering for your case, it's 153 millimeters or 6 inches. So make sure your case can accommodate that and you'll be good to go. I can't get over this. It's still setting same temperature. Never ever seen that on this before. Okay, so we're going to stop this and maybe we'll check out one more. Okay, so I've got HW Info 64 and we got everything running. So I just wanted to have a quick look. And this is the system I'm running with. It's the Gigabyte B450M DS3H, just in case you're wondering what it was, with 16 gigabyte of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Okay, so you can see all the good stuff here. And where is our temperature? Okay, so I just scrolled down here a little bit. See our CPU, we're sitting at 30.5 degrees current. Alright, so our average is 31. You can see the CPU die. Okay, all your different voltages, core, VID. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that there's no thermal throttling going on. There's our CPU setting at 30. Okay, system. Just wanted to give you a quick look. Hi everybody, so that is the most impressive CPU cooler I think so far that I've ever had the pleasure of testing. Very quiet. I would have to say it's quieter than the Hyper 212. It just is. Now, first, full disclaimer, this was provided to me to do the review on. So I'll get that out of the way right now. But I don't get impressed easy. Usually most CPU coolers will shoot up to 70 or 80. This would handle a much bigger processor. Now, it's only on the Ryzen 3 3100X. Okay? Stock, just no overclock or nothing like that. But still, maxed out 53 degrees. Never went higher. First CPU cooler I've ever had that actually dropped the temperature. Just a little bit, but still super impressive. If you're looking for one of these, go to Amazon.com, have a look for it. I like it. I'm going to have fun doing more testing with it and things down the road. So anyway, that's the video. If you like it, hit that like. If you don't, you know what to do. Leave me a comment. Make it constructive. Don't just say, what is that? Didn't do you any good. Tell me why. Tell me how you'd like it fixed. And I'll try and fix it. Anyway, if you like it, hit that like. If you don't, you know what to do. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Hit that bell for future notifications. Thanks for watching.